All right, it's the second big week of Scream Queens month on Drive-In Theater, and you know the crew still hadn't recovered from Linnea Quigley being here last week. When she left that night, they were saying these incredibly witty things to her like, "Do you have a car?" And "I loved you in Vice Academy too." You know, you guys are pitiful with this stuff. Anyhow, my guest tonight, and I have to admit, I have a weakness myself for this woman. She has the most evil, dark eyes. You look at those eyes and you just want to say, okay, kill me, go ahead, I'll enjoy it. I first saw her in a movie called Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity, and she was the best thing about that movie. And I recently saw that Jesse Helms considers that movie one of the best arguments for censorship in America. He hates that movie. Makes me love it even more. We'll ask her about it. Come on out here, Brink. Brink Stevens, our Scream Queen for the evening.
You didn't tell
Welcome,
me this
Brink.
place was so hard to find.
Well,
Hi.
we expected you to be wearing clothing, so have a seat. No, really, good to see you. That concludes the community theater part of our program. All right, Brink, you look stunning as usual.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I've watched your show, and I just can't believe I'm actually here.
This is it. This is all that happens here.
Okay, I can go home now.
Yeah.
I need the axe again.
Tell me, what about Jesse Helms? To get that worked up, I think Jesse Helms must have the hots for you, don't you think?
Well, I don't know. Apparently what happened, this woman and her son, in the privacy of their own home, were flipping through the channels on the television, and they happened to come on Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity. Yeah, and they saw just enough of it to be traumatized for life. And somehow Jesse Helms found out about it and demanded that this movie be banned from the American public, that they not be allowed to watch it. He said it had disgusting dialogue. I didn't think it was that bad.
Actually, I consider it one of the tamer exploitation movies that has ever come out in the last few years anyway. But you were great in it, though.
Thank
I remember
you.
being absolutely blown away by you when I first saw that movie. You looked terrific.
It was loosely based on The Most Dangerous Game. And if you ever see that film, I'm actually saying Fay Wray's lines. I'm playing her part in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's close to coming to
interesting movie fact. Now, tonight, we're going to watch a very interesting film that you did called Haunting Fear, which we'll get to that in a minute. But I've been wanting to ask you something ever since I first heard about it. You were the original model for the woman in The Rocketeer, which was originally a comic book drawn by your ex-husband, Dave Stevens, right? And he used you as the model for that character, right?
Right, right. Yeah, I did all the posing for Dave when he was drawing The Rocketeer. We were married around 1980, and I had dated him for 6 years before that, so I posed for Aurora and a lot of his other characters. And then when he was doing the Betty character, it was my body, and he put Betty Page's face on it.
But actually, he was a fan of Betty Page, the famous pinup model from the 50s, and you were considered the modern Betty Page. And,
yeah.
And I guess still are, right?
When he took me to Hanna-Barbera, where he was working at the time, everyone said, "Oh, Dave, you found your Betty Page." And then I got into doing cheesecake modeling, and they started calling me the Betty Page of the 80s, 90s, whatever.
But then when it came time to make the movie version of The Rocketeer, you didn't get the part.
No, I think it was, see, Dave Stevens was the Rocketeer, and I was the Betty character, the Jenny character. And in a way, she was playing me, but 10 years ago, when it was created.
Yeah, okay. So, but you didn't get a chance to try out or anything, huh?
No, I wish, but, and the least thing I would have expected would have been a thank you or something to Brink at the end of the movie, because I figured I put in 400 hours of modeling for Dave, for free, for the price of friendship, and I at least would have liked to thank you.
Well, you know, you gals in the B movies are never appreciated. You know,
not by the mainstream
Scream Queens
public,
are just
no.
never get the respect that they're due.
That's why your show and the fans that I have really make me feel like I've accomplished something. Because in the world at large, it's like, oh, you do B movies, and it's like, you know, jump back.
But what you're saying is, because of the pitiful fans that we have, we can experience some self-esteem ourselves. All right, now how did you get to be a Scream Queen? Because you can't go to Scream Queen school. In fact, you went to oceanography school.
Right, right.
Tell me about that.
I lived in San Diego, and I was working toward my doctorate degree, and I wanted to do dolphin communication, but they didn't want me to do that at the time. So I ended up getting kicked out of grad school because I experimented with dolphins, and I wasn't supposed to.
You got kicked out?
Yeah.
What did you do to those dolphins?
Well, I
Brink?
was doing communication experiments. I really believed that I could crack the dolphin language. And at that time, the tuna fishing industry was based in San Diego, and also the Navy was based there, and they were experimenting with, putting bombs on their back. So nobody wanted to talk to dolphins because you'd feel very guilty about slaughtering them 1,000 a day if you can talk to them.
Wait a minute, the Navy was putting bombs on the dolphins' backs, and so nobody wanted to translate their language because the dolphin would say, I have a bomb on my back?
Yeah, I led the dolphin would say, look guys, I'm not really happy about this. I mean, they didn't want to hear that. So I got 2 baby dolphins.
Was this your theory? Did you write a paper about this?
I had my own idea of how I could communicate with them, which was through sonar.
So were you out there secretly swimming around with these dolphins at night trying to talk to them?
I secretly got 2 baby dolphins at SeaWorld and was working with them. And in the meantime, I was doing my doctorate degree on seals at Scripps. But then they found out what I was doing, and they called me on the carpet one day and said, you can't stay here any longer. It would have been safer if you had stuck with guppies. And they kicked me out.
Oh, and that's why you're not Dr. Stevens' dolphin expert today.
Yeah.
But this turned out much better for us anyway. I don't know how you feel about it.
I ran away and joined the circus. I moved to Hollywood and became an actress.
Yeah, all right. Well, we're going to talk about your whole career after the movie, but first tell us a little about Haunting Fear, which we're about to watch, based on an Edgar Allan Poe story, right? Mm-hmm. The Premature Burial.
Yeah.
Directed by one of the exploitation kings, Fred Olen Ray.
Fred, whom I've worked with many times on many movies, but this is my favorite one. Of all the films I've done, I really think this is my most dramatic performance. And I have to really give Fred a lot of credit because when the script was written, everybody pegged me for the evil secretary, played by Delia Shepard now. But Fred believed that I could play the mousy housewife, and he had to really convince a lot of people that he was not making a casting mistake on this. But I ended up doing the housewife, and it was the best decision we could have made.
Well, you're a great housewife, but I wouldn't call you mousy. It was supposed to be mousy. It was written mousy.
Well, yeah, she's written as somebody who's very normal and average and is tormented by these nightmares she's having, and then it pushes her over the brink of insanity.
You're not really mousy. You're catty, not mousy.
Catty.
Would you say that this is a story where you get back at your two-timing husband and his evil slut wife by going crazy, grabbing a kitchen knife, and becoming the wife from hell?
Right,
is that pretty
exactly.
accurate description of this movie?
Yeah, I kill my husband and his evil mistress, but they deserved
But
it.
don't tell the whole thing.
I won't.
Okay, very funny movie, though. 3 dead bodies, 14 breasts, also starring Jan Michael Vincent and Karen Black, and an especially nice performance by Delia Shepard as the raving bitch secretary. You like this movie a lot?
I like it very
You
much.
told me this is your favorite movie that you've done,
it
right?
is, because I got to go slowly insane, and that's fun when you get to go really slowly crazy. It doesn't happen all at once.
Okay, rated R. Check it out, and then we'll be back with more of Brink. And meanwhile, in this movie, you get to see a whole lot less of Brink. We'll talk about that during the movie, okay?